Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome to Cosmic Consciousness with Kassia. On this channel, we discuss all aspects of the ascension process. I have a variety of services that I offer to assist in your awakening journey, and you can find those listed in the description box below. Today, we're going to be talking about the Venus retrograde. This has been coming up in a lot of videos, and we are finally dedicating some time to talking about this incredibly transformative and powerful cycle that Venus is undergoing right now. This retrograde has been happening since around December 19th, which is when we experienced that full moon in Gemini just a few days before the solstice. And it will be going until the 29th of January. We are going to be in the shadow period until the 3/3 portal, however. And what happens during that shadow period is just as important as what's happening during the retrograde, if not more so. And so, yes, we are into this energy already, but we're going to be covering the full scope of this and really discussing the magnitude of these energies. So many things being transformed, so many different levels that we're working on collectively and individually when it comes to this retrograde. And then, of course, we are going to pull some cards as well. And so, yes, we kicked off this Venus retrograde in the sign of Capricorn at 26 degrees of Capricorn. And at this time when Venus stationed retrograde, right around that Gemini full moon, like we said, she was also in conjunction with Pluto. And so we have that powerful energy of Pluto setting the tone for this entire Venus retrograde. And Venus's shadow period, of course, will conclude when she comes back into relationship with Pluto. But she's not going to be alone when she does so. She is going to have her counterpart, Mars, with her. So we're going to go, I wrote this down, we're going to go through this whole trajectory of energy here. And then we're going to talk about some of the things that this means. So we have this beginning, like we said, Venus at 26 degrees of Capricorn, conjunct Pluto, receiving that massive activation from Pluto. And remember, Pluto is the planet of regeneration. It is the Phoenix planet. It is the planet that represents the shadow, yes, but it represents our soul's ultimate potential and power. Pluto is the planet of power. So anytime we have a planet coming into contact with Pluto, there is going to be a death and a rebirth. Something is going to be transformed at a very visceral and based level, right? Like we're going deep. Pluto is the planet that rules Scorpio. And so you can think about Scorpio energy when we're thinking about the energy of Pluto, right? We're going right to the core, right to the heart of things. And whenever we interact and we do a dance with Pluto, we will never be the same again. So Venus receiving this activation, receiving this transmission from Pluto, and then moving forward and going about her retrograde. Right now, as I'm filming this video, I'm honestly not sure of the date. It's the first week of January right now. So we're a couple weeks into this retrograde now, give or take. We've been feeling these energies. As Venus moves through the sign of Capricorn, like we said, activated as she has been by the fires of Pluto, we're really going to be going deep into our shadows. And remember, Venus represents love, partnership, value, the way that we value ourselves above all else, right? And then, of course, the outer things that we value as well. She represents finances, wealth, the material world, beauty, all of the things that we find beautiful. And so these are some of the elements that are going through and undergoing this metamorphosis at this time. But the key here to understand and realize is that this is a journey of self-love. And so we're really seeing and understanding and any aspects of the self that we don't love, right? Those aspects of the self that we feel shame around are coming up to the surface. And yes, we are seeing, of course, the way that this is reflected to us, I guess you would say. In our outer relationships, we're learning a lot about partnerships, how we are in partnerships. Most importantly, why we are the way we are in partnerships. We're also learning what the state of our partnerships. And if those partnerships are toxic, if those partnerships are not, what's the word that I'm looking for here? they don't vibe with us. They're not resonant for us anymore. If there's something that is out of alignment within them, that is becoming more clear to us. But like we said, it's not about the other, right? It's never about the other. We always bring it back to the self. So when we are noticing these outer relationships, and where those are out of alignment, where there are toxic traits, where any of these things, right? We bring it back to the self and we try to figure out and understand why. Why is that manifested in my reality? What belief systems do I have within me, right? That are creating this outer relationship. And a lot of times, a lot of this comes back to self-worth and self-love, right? We receive the kind of love that we believe we deserve. If we don't believe we deserve true love, we're not going to attract that, right? If we don't truly value ourselves, we will not attract other people that see our value and our worth. And so ultimately, it all comes back to us being able to see and understand our own value and worth. And yes, finance is another area where we see this energy magnified back, right? Once again, our finances, more often than not, are very proportionate to our sense of self-worth. And so any of these outer things, we can trace it back to that, and we can look at that as a root. In the sign of Capricorn, Venus is really wanting us to get serious, right? This is an energy that really wants stability, that really wants follow through. It's a very committed energy. And so, yes, we are in this revisionary process, right? Whenever a planet goes retrograde, it's more of an internalized experience. So we may not be experiencing a lot in the outer world, right? There may not be a lot happening on the outside, but internally there's a lot going on. There's a lot that we are reevaluating. And so we're taking notice of these things. We're taking notice of where it is that all of a sudden we're realizing that something isn't jiving, whether it be the career that we've chosen, the job that we're currently working in. Like we said, the relationship that we're in, all of these outer things, like we're noticing where things are out of alignment in our lives. And that Capricorn energy is really wanting us to do something about that. It's wanting us to make a shift. It's wanting us to make a change so that we can have more longevity and we can experience longevity with the things that matter, right? So it's very much an energy of trimming out the fat. What is it that we don't need? Where is it that our time and our energy and our affections are the most efficient, the most effective, and the most appreciated? Where are they the most deserving? Who and what is most deserving of our time, our energy, and our love? These are things that we are looking at and evaluating as we move through Capricorn season. And like we said, we're wanting that longevity. We're wanting things that last. We're wanting to create things that last. And so, yeah, I think that's all that we need to say right now about the energies of Venus in Capricorn and the energies of moving through that. It is a very ambitious sign. And this is the sign, Capricorn rules the 10th house and is very much about that mark that we want to leave on the world. And for a lot of people, that's why career is going to be probably as equal a focus as relationships when it comes to this particular Venus retrograde, because of that Capricornian energy. And so it's really, when we're looking at partners as well, we're really going to be looking at the partners that complement us when it comes to where it is that we're trying to go in life. Is this person's energy complementary? Right? Do they have the same level of drive and ambition that I do? Do they have the same goals? Do they have the same vision? Those are things that we're really going to be evaluating and looking at as we move through this Venus and Capricorn transit and retrograde. All right, so we have Venus moving retrograde through Capricorn, like we just talked about, looking at all of these energies, and then finishing her retrograde on the 29th of January at 11 degrees of Capricorn in a loose conjunction to the moon. And on this same day, interestingly enough, we have Mercury, who will be in retrograde, conjunct Juno and Pluto. So once again, we have that Plutonic energy. Even though Venus, of course, has not returned to her conjunction with Pluto yet, we have Mercury conjunct Pluto and Juno, which is the asteroid of partnership and marriage. So once again, as Venus stations, we have this powerful jolt of energy within our mental bodies, right? Within our desire to communicate as well. Remember, Mercury also rules communication. So there's this huge transformation there, and we can possibly see on that day, if there have been things coming up within people and they've been just silently kind of reviewing it and kind of putting the pieces together and understanding and observing what's going on within them, this may be a day where they reach out and communicate the truth about how they feel. On and around the end of this retrograde, around the 29th of January, with that conjunction of Mercury, Pluto, and Juno, there's a lot of that potential for intense and powerful and transformative conversations, and also transformative visions. This is where our vision of relationships is really being transformed, and our vision of communication and relationships and what that looks like. So just a really powerful energy that we're experiencing at that day. It's like Venus going through this whole process of transformation and then coming to this point of realization at the same time that we have this conjunction with Mercury, Juno, and Pluto. And really then having this whole new vision, right? This whole new vision for relationships and understanding of what it is that we particularly want and desire in relationship, and who and what can fulfill that for us, most importantly. And really understanding, as we always say, that the most important relationship is the one that we have with ourselves, and possibly having a much deeper relationship and understanding of the relationship that we have with ourselves by the time that this Venus retrograde ends. And so as she completes, it doesn't stop. It gets more intense from here, you guys. As she completes this process, and she begins moving back across the area that she covered during the retrograde, right? Back towards this conjunction with Pluto again, back through what we call her shadow period. She begins to make some connections with Mars. And so if we think of Venus as our feminine energy, we would think of Mars as our masculine energy. And so these are the two sides, the two essences that we all have within us. So we have this beautiful divine feminine energy with this Venusian energy that's been going through this massive process of transformation. And then we have our masculine energy, who's now getting ready to also go through a transformation as he crosses paths with Pluto. And so these two planets begin a sort of dance together. And they come within pretty close contact to each other, but they don't come into conjunction quite yet. They begin, Mars is kind of playing catch up with Venus right now, as she's moving back through that shadow period, and Mars is entering Capricorn and beginning to close that distance between them, to bridge that distance between the two. And then let's see here. By the third week of February, they will come into a direct conjunction. And so we have the feminine and the masculine merging, right? Merging their energies, coming together. And yes, they came together in the sign of Leo last summer, and that was a really big, bold, beautiful energy, a really explosive and dynamic energy. Now our masculine and our feminine energies are coming together in the sign of Capricorn. So this is a much more mature energy, right? It's not necessarily the fireworks that we had when they came together in the sign of Leo. However, with that Plutonic aspect, we can't really say that it's not either. But it's a much more serious energy. It's a much more intense and mature energy. And this is where Venus and Mars are really coming together in agreement. They both know what they want, and they're ready to put in the effort to achieve that. And so we can see some really lasting partnerships being I don't want to use the word cemented, was the word that I was going to use, but really being created or being stabilized, like a deeper level of commitment. And this isn't just in outer relationships. This is also a deeper level of commitment to ourselves, our path, and our goals, and our achievement of them. And remember, ultimate creation happens when we combine that masculine and feminine energies, right? It takes both. The negative and the positive charge. We see this throughout nature. We see this throughout creation, throughout the cosmos. These two energies coming together to create that third energy. So this is kind of like, it's like a nuclear blast of energy, really, because it also has longevity. And we see that energy of longevity just in the amount of time that these two planets are together, because they're coming together throughout most of February. By the third week, they're in conjunction, and then they're continuing to move more or less together, a few degrees apart, but still more or less together, into this conjunction with Pluto that happens on the 3-3 portal. So on March 1st, each planet is within a degree of each other. We have Venus at 25 degrees, Mars at 26 degrees, and Pluto at 27 degrees. And by the 3-3 portal, Pluto, Venus, and Mars are all conjunct at 27 degrees of Capricorn. And this, even though Venus technically would have completed her shadow period at 26 degrees, this feels like the closeout to me, when all three of these planets reach 27 degrees. And it's like a massive, massive activation. The feminine and the masculine activated together, right? The feminine has gone through this really deep transformative process, which is very similar. In 2020, we saw our masculine energy going through a huge transformative process as we had Mars transiting Aries and going retrograde in the sign of Aries. Mars spent 6 months, which is a very long amount of time for Mars to be in one sign, in the sign of Aries, which is the sign of its rulership. And there was a huge activation and upgrade to our masculine energy. So we see with this Venus retrograde in connection and conjunction with Pluto, really the same, I think, kind of an activation that Mars received at the end of 2020. Now Venus receiving at the end of 2021. And then at the end of this, her and Mars come together. Our masculine and our feminine energies, both really purified over the last couple of years, coming together, meeting and conjoining and merging their energies. And the portals play right along with this, which is what's so cool about this. Because we have the 1-1 portal, which is a very masculine energy. Then the 2-2 portal, which is very feminine. And then the 1 and the 2, which add up to the 3, the merging of the masculine and feminine. And so on the 3-3 portal, we have this merging of the masculine and the feminine as Venus and Mars connected with that energy of Pluto. It really doesn't get any better than that. And this is really powerful, you guys, because Pluto will actually be reaching 27 degrees on the 2-2 portal. And 27 degrees, as we also know, because we've been talking about this, is the Pluto return for the United States. And this is the last time Pluto was at 27 degrees was during the American Revolution. And so a lot of that powerful energy in the air as well. So it's really interesting that this conjunction of Mars and Venus also happens with Pluto at 27 degrees, at the degree that Pluto is associated with the energy of the American Revolution, right? And our Pluto return. So it really is a return to our sovereignty, a return to our empowerment, a return to our potential as creators, right? This huge energy of creation and of taking responsibility for our creations as we move forward. Something else that's really interesting that's going on with this energy that I was feeling is that this purge and activation that Mars and Venus are receiving, and really I think a lot of it started, like we said, with Mars's purification during 2020 as he transited through the sign of Aries, right? But there is this energy happening of us purifying and reclaiming our sacred sexual energy. So as Venus goes through this purification cycle with Pluto, and then Mars enters into the mix, and also merges with Venus and receives this final purification, this final cleansing and upgrading, activating from Pluto. We are in this process collectively. And we see this also if we look at the nodes. The South Node in Scorpio, the North Node in Taurus. The nodes by March will be in Taurus and Scorpio. So this is an energy that we're really continuing throughout 2022. But we're seeing a major aspect of it with this Venus, this Venus cycle and this Venus retrograde. And everything that we just talked about here. Of us really reclaiming our sexual energy. Cleansing that energy. And the ways from all of the darker and the heavier energies that have kind of held us hostage in that way. Our sacred sexual energy is one of our greatest powers. That is our power of creation. And that energy has been hijacked by these darker energies for a very long time. It has been twisted. It has been perverted on purpose because they wanted to hide our power from us. This is just one of the many ways that they hid our own power from us, by making us afraid of it, by making it something dark, something taboo, something wrong, something dirty, right? And so we're taking that energy, we're cleansing it, we're clearing it, and we're reclaiming it. And we're moving forward from this point as the masters of our own sexual energy. And this process is initiated during this Venus retrograde. But like we said, this is going to be ongoing throughout 2022 and into 2023 a little bit too, because we have, I think, 1 or 2 more eclipses in Taurus and Scorpio in 2023 as well. We have Taurus and Scorpio, the nodes in Taurus and Scorpio, and also every single eclipse of this year is going to be in either Taurus or Scorpio. So a lot of that energy that's assisting and kind of ongoing with this. But we see the first initiation of it with this Venus retrograde. And this is a really important thing to understand, this detaching our sexual energy from the dark forces, because these energies have been utilizing it to power and feed their agenda with and without our consent. And so us taking back that energy and ownership of that energy is like, I don't think it can be overstated how important that is. Yeah, that's going to be a game changer as we are reclaiming that energy and taking that fuel away from them. Right? There's a lot of different things, a lot of different ways that they siphon and drain our energy. And so little by little, we're taking that back. We're taking back their power sources. We're cleansing those and we're reclaiming those. And so we see the scales continuing to tip in our favor. Right. All right. So yeah, total overhaul here of our masculine and feminine energies, especially that feminine energy of our power to create, and absolutely, of course, of our outer relationships, partnerships, our careers, our finances for many, right? These belief systems, all of these shadow energies coming to the surface. And with Venus, when she's dancing with Pluto here and we're talking relationships, we are definitely going to see some of these shadow energies coming up to the surface anywhere where they exist. Anywhere where we still have that tendency to manipulate, where we have that any of those fears, right? Those fears of abandonment, those fears of loss, those fears of not getting what we need, those fears of being alone, all of those energies are coming to the surface anywhere where we have that lack of trust, right? We're going to be seeing all of that shadow stuff coming to the surface that needs to be revealed so that it can be healed. So just know and understand that if there's craziness going on in your personal life, in your relationships, or in your bank account, as we're moving through this energy, just pay attention to what you're being shown, what's being revealed to you, what is that teaching you? Look more deeply into it. We're really, with this energy, with this Plutonic energy involved here, we're wanting to look at the root. We're wanting to get down to the root of absolutely anything and everything. And I'm feeling like I want to pull some mystical shaman oracle cards for you guys to start out this reading for the Venus retrograde. in Capricorn, and the triple conjunction of Mars, Venus, and Pluto. Clear. And then Mars, I forgot to let you guys know, throughout the rest of the month of Mars, the month of March, Venus and Mars are going to be pretty close to each other, within 5 degrees for much of the month of March. And then they will begin to start breaking apart toward the end of March. And Venus will move forward, as she does tend to actually move a bit faster than Mars. So she will kind of take the lead and move on into Aquarius. And they'll be moving into Aquarius kind of together too, but she'll into Aquarius and beyond. All right, let's see. What guidance do we have for the Venus retrograde and this powerful conjunction of Venus and Mars? Okay. So we have the Earth Keeper coming out. We also have the Gatherer. And so Venusian energy as well. It is related to beauty. It is related to the arts. It's related to the material world, though, right? So it is related to the planet. Venus rules the signs of Libra and Taurus. And Taurus energy, which we said is going to play a huge part in 2022, as we have that North Node in Taurus, is the most physical of all of the signs. Taurus energy is very earth related. This energy, Venus is even though Venus is her own planet, her energies are very related to the energies of the earth and the planet as well. And so during this Venus retrograde, a lot of us are really going to be understanding more deeply our role as the keepers of this earth. How is it that we are individually called to care for this planet? What does that look like for each and every single one of us? And then we have this energy of the Gatherer. So this is that energy where we are. It's like the squirrel energy is what this is making me think of. When you see like a squirrel as an animal spirit, a lot of times you think about them gathering their nuts and storing them for the winter, storing for a rainy day. So it is definitely this energy of how it is that we care for ourselves, how it is that we accumulate resources. What have we gathered? What have we put together in order to get us through? Do we have everything accumulated that we need, the resources that we need in order to move through this next season or phase of our lives? And this is also about understanding that the earth offers us unlimited resources. And so for some people, this is like learning how to utilize the earth's resources more efficiently and effectively is what this really feels like, which is an interesting energy. It's almost like, you know how people, they take courses in survivalism? Like they know how to scavenge, they know how to forage for different fruits and berries and roots and different things like that. They know how to live off of the land. Yeah, there's some sort of an energy like that too, like learning how to become more connected to the land and what it is that she offers. And this may not be in the form of necessarily for everyone physical sustenance. It may be more spiritual sustenance. Really understanding and coming into a much deeper and profound relationship with the planet. And really understanding our role on this planet, which is, definitely an interesting energy that I didn't expect to pick up on here for this Venus retrograde and this conjunction of Mars and Venus with Pluto. And then we have the eagle. So this is where we have that higher vision, right? That eagle vision. Seen from that higher perspective. Yeah, so this really truly feels to me like seeing and understanding, having a deeper understanding for the different roles that we play on this planet. For the different, for being custodians, seeing ourselves as custodians of this planet. And also not just of the planet herself, but of all the people on it. How is it that we contribute to the greater whole? How is it that we can come together with others in order to accumulate more resources? And really having a much deeper understanding of the ways and means that we go about, kind of like we said, right? Getting what we need. How is it that we do that? How can we do that in a way that's more sustainable for the planet and for our relationships with others, is almost what it feels like. Yeah. Anything else here? We have the luminous warrior coming out with the journey. Yeah, so there's a really deep and profound journey that a lot of people are going on during this Venus retrograde and the ensuing conjunction with Mars and Pluto here. There's a deep journey within to find the inner warrior, to find the luminous warrior. And I want to read to you guys about the luminous warrior because I think this is important to understand. And I feel as though, if I'm remembering correctly, that this really shows when we're talking about the merging of our masculine and our feminine and the ultimate, what that energy looks like in terms of this warrior energy. I feel like this is a beautiful description of that. So we're going to check this out and see. We're going to see what it says here. But there's this deep and powerful, like, shamanic initiation and journey that we're undergoing throughout this Venus retrograde that's really connecting us to our inner warrior. The luminous warrior has no enemies in this world or the next. He is impeccable in word and deed. He focuses on his light rather than on what hides in the dark. Since he casts no shadow, he is as radiant as the sun and can transform his most terrible enemy into his ally. His power comes not from the sword, but from speaking his truth at all costs. The luminous warrior reminds you it is important to focus on your power, wisdom, and beauty. Do not be seduced by what seems wrong with you or with the world. Remember that intention follows attention, so focus on your positive traits. Feed your light with more light until you feel truly empowered. Then there will be little need for action as you resolve all situations from within. Really interesting. So this is especially when we have this Venus retrograde conjunct Pluto, right? Which is bringing up a lot of these shadow energies. And so through this process, through this journey through our shadow, we're learning how to not drown in that energy. We're learning how to embrace all of that and how to focus. It's like allowing what wants to come up and not hiding from it, not running from it, but at the same time, not diving into it and allowing ourselves to be consumed by it. And this is something that this Taurus, North Node in Taurus, South Node in Scorpio energy is really going to be teaching us this year, which is this energy of focusing on our light, focusing on the beauty, not focusing on our darkness. Yes, like we said, we invite it to show itself. We observe what's coming up, right? We don't run, we don't hide, we stand our ground. That's the luminous warrior. But at the same time, we focus on our light, we focus on the beauty, we focus on the good. We focus on what we want to magnify and create more of. And we naturally allow the darkness to integrate. So it's this journey. It's this journey where we're learning how to get out of this place where we're living in our darkness, right? Where we're much more concerned with picking out our flaws, picking out what needs to be healed, what could be improved, right? What could be better. And this energy is saying, like, what we're going to learn through this Venus retrograde is to focus on what's good instead. and focus on creating more of that. Focus on what's great about you. Don't focus on what needs to change, right? Focus on the good and let the good magnify itself. So that's really beautiful energy. I really like that. And this energy of, remember, the power comes not from the sword, but from speaking truth at all costs. So really learning this journey back into our hearts and back into our truth, where we're able to stand for and speak our truth. Which is absolutely the ultimate goal, right? I'm going to hold up the journey card for you guys again, too. These are so beautiful. This is about stepping into the unknown as well. Stepping into the unknown. This is about taking the opportunities for adventure, the opportunities to explore the aspects of ourselves and the world that we have not yet explored, so that we can become, like we said, the luminous warrior. And so during this Venus retrograde, we are really being encouraged to not let the opportunities slip by, to take advantage of the opportunities for growth, on the opportunities to explore the unknown within and without. Yeah, I love that. We had the upper world on the bottom of the deck. And then the drum, which I saw in there somewhere. It popped out, and then I shuffled and these two cards came out. So this is the final message from this deck that wants to be heard. The upper world and the drum. And of course, the upper world is the world where our guardians, our angels, all of these higher vibrational beings exist, right? This is what some would call heaven, but we know as simply the higher spiritual planes and realms. And the drum is a great way, the drum is a great tool, right, that we can use to journey, to enter sacred states of consciousness, to enter the upper world. The drum is a great tool that we can utilize to connect with the upper world, as well as the lower world, right? But here right now we're focusing on this energy of the upper world. And it's interesting because it was inverted on the bottom of the deck. So I'm just going to take a little look here. Yeah, so this is, oh, that's the Vision Quest. Sorry, guys. I think it was interesting that I read that, though, because that was all about Spirit wanting to connect with you and needing you to take that quiet breather, needing you to create that time, that space, that silence for Spirit to be heard. And this is another way that you're being asked to create that space for the messages that really want to come in for you during this retrograde. Let's see. Angels, divine helpers, the ancient ones, and all varieties of luminous beings populate the upper world. It is the place where you go to retrieve your destiny and find out who you will become. Discover your great potentials and undreamt of possibilities. It is also the place where the spirits of the dead arrive when they complete their journey to the light. And so, yeah, you're being called to ask for assistance from the upper world, from your guides, your team, your angels. They all want to assist you. They want to connect with you. And they want you to utilize some type of ceremony and ritual, some type of sound. There are different things that you can employ with this drum energy in order to connect with them more powerfully, or really open up those channels of communication. Yes, and I love this. What you perceive as a problem or an obstacle is in fact the irritation you need to take the great leap. So if there is something during this Venus retrograde coming up that's really rubbing you the wrong way or making you crazy, it's doing that for a reason, to get you to act. Remember, we talked about this the other day, how we change when the discomfort of staying the same is greater than the discomfort of the unknown. And so this is that irritation is pushing you out of that comfort zone for some. That's what's going to be called, or that's what you're going to be experiencing throughout this Venus retrograde. Do not fall to the temptation to craft a slightly more improved version of yourself. So accepting yourself as you are. Loving yourself as you are. Stepping into your destiny. All right. Let's do some Black Moon astrology cards. See what the Black Moon astrology cards have to say for this Venus retrograde. Let's get some out. Okay, first card out, 11th house, friends popping right up. So a lot of social energies with this Venus retrograde. A lot of changes when it comes to our friends, when it comes to networking, communications. And then we have the Sagittarius card coming out as well, I see. So a lot of exploration. So during this Venus retrograde, you may be drawn to explore different circles that you hadn't explored before, to connect with different types of people that maybe you hadn't connected with, to really expand your social horizons in order to gain new perspectives. With this card originally inverted, it's like we're really being called to step out of anywhere where we have become dogmatic or closed-minded in our views. We're being asked, first of all, to recognize that and accept that. Because a lot of times we don't like to think of ourselves as closed-minded, right? So we're kind of closed-minded to even the possibility that we could be closed-minded. You see the irony there, right? So it's really asking us to expand our network, expand our circles, expand our communications so that we can get a greater perspective of the world. And we can come into a deeper sense of knowledge. There's a lot of knowledge to be gained during this Venus retrograde. A lot of wisdom, a lot of insight, a lot of knowledge. But much of that is going to be gained through, even though, like we said, retrogrades are typically a very introverted process, there's a lot of this this wisdom and knowledge that's going to be gained through conversation, through communication. And we do have a very active Mercury during a lot of this Venus retrograde as well, right? Mercury going into retrograde during the Venus retrograde. Mercury coming into that conjunction with Pluto itself. And before coming into that conjunction with Pluto, I do believe passing through... Mercury's probably passed through is probably going to pass through Mars and Venus. I would imagine on its way through Capricorn toward that conjunction with Pluto. So yeah, a lot of expansion. Us being asked to allow people to show us different views and different perspectives, different ways of being, so that we can expand our understanding not only of the world around us but of ourselves as well. Yeah, with the 11th house and Aquarius. Remember, Aquarius rules the 11th house. That energy coming through very, very strong. Also the energy of teamwork and collaboration during this Venus retrograde. And when we talk about this conjunction, right, of Mars, Venus, and Pluto, and the energy of creation there, a lot of what we're going to create is going to come through brainstorming. It's going to come through collaboration. And it's going to come through group efforts. Remember, this is the age of Aquarius that we are moving into. And it's interesting here because, remember, the ruler of Aquarius was Saturn before Uranus was discovered. And I don't know if that's Saturn or Uranus up there. But I know Uranus is ringed too. But it's making me think of Saturn as I'm looking at that right now. And of course, we know Saturn being also the ruler of Capricorn, which is where it's all going down, right? In the sign of Capricorn. So it's like a maturing, like our viewpoint is maturing. And the ways that we apply, remember, wisdom is applied knowledge. The ways that we apply our knowledge, there's a maturing in the energy and the ways that we utilize and apply the knowledge that we've accumulated. And that I didn't even remember, wow. I didn't even remember shuffling. I just looked down in the Libra eye balance card. I'm sure that this did pop out and I was just distracted. But it's just really interesting how that was just sitting there. And remember, Libra ruled by Venus. One of the two signs that Venus rules. And you see there's a very loving energy here with these two cupids on this particular card. So a real energy of balance when it comes to the give and take in relationships. I'm feeling codependency for some people, a lot of codependency being revealed and healed. Seeing and understanding where that energy comes from, moving through that energy. The balance of, like we said, our masculine and our feminine counterparts. Yeah, definitely feeling the healing of that codependent energy, though, with that Libra card. And then we have the Pisces card coming out with the part of fortune increase. I believe an increase. So there's a real, if we are willing and able to shift our belief systems during Venus retrograde, there's an incredible amount of increase and abundance that's available to us. But we have to believe it. We have to believe that we are worthy of it. We have to believe that we are capable, right? Capricorn is a sign of competence and capability. We have to believe that we're capable, and we have to be willing to dream that bigger dream. That's a big part of what this Aquarius energy is as well. Willing to dream that bigger dream. Sagittarius as well. So are we willing to do that? Are we willing to believe? Right? Are we willing to shift some of these belief systems that we have related to scarcity and lack so that we can step into more abundance? There's incredible, there's so much, we talked about this creation power, this manifesting power. There is so much powerful manifestation energy available to us. And we are going to see what we believe manifesting right in front of our eyes. So if you don't know what your belief systems are, Venus retrograde is going to show you, because you're going to see those beliefs manifesting. So look at your outer reality and think to yourself, what would I have to believe was true in order for this to be my manifested reality? Or in order for this to be my expectation? In order for this to be my fear, what would I have to believe is true? Really getting to know our beliefs and really coming to discard those beliefs that are not there to assist us in creating what it is that we want to create for ourselves in our reality. What is this card that came out? North Node, life's purpose. We've been talking a lot about that North Node in Taurus energy. So us really moving towards our purpose. Really seeing and understanding what it takes in order to move toward our purpose as this Venus retrograde progresses. And then I love how, I wasn't sure if I was going to take them or not, but we had the Capricorn card come out with the 12th house card. But the 12th house card is inverted here. And it was funny because they just kind of flopped out while I was shuffling. I don't know if you guys saw how that happened. It was a little bit strange. But this is very much that energy of, if we have been indulging in these escapist tendencies, we're going to have this opportunity to really step out of that, to really overpower that energy, to move out of this energy where we are self-defeating, right? Where we are living these self-fulfilling prophecies. If they are not the prophecies that we want to be enacting and experiencing, right? We're going to see where it is that we are creating our own distress, where it is that we are our worst enemy. And we're going to get an opportunity to then utilize that wisdom and that awareness in order to move forward and break out of some of these old constrictive habits and patterns. Grand Trine blessings and Jupiter return benefits on the bottom of the deck. You guys, there is so much abundance and so much just beautiful energy that is available to us with this Venus retrograde. Like it is a massively transformative cycle, but like coming through this cycle, there is like infinite blessings are available to us if we are willing and ready. And sometimes I just like to cut the deck in funny ways. So I just did, and we had the Moon Soul with the Venus card kind of out like this. And so I love that too, soul love, right? So there's like a deeper level of love that we are feeling and experiencing for our own souls and for the other souls in our lives and in our journey, right? So really making those deep soul-to-soul connections during the Venus retrograde, or noticing where it is that those are lacking. And this is a beautiful energy of creativity as well with these two energies together. So really creating from the soul, bringing the voices and the whispers of the soul to life through our creations. And what did I want to do now? I wanted to pull from the Intuit Oracle as well for you guys to close out here. Clear. Let's get a few cards for this Venus retrograde. Yeah, so really paying attention to as well to what makes our souls sing. Right? What do we love? Deep down at a soul level. Right? What inspires us at a soul level? Who and what inspires us at a soul level? That's going to be made a lot more clear as we move through this Venus retrograde. All right. Venus retrograde 2022. First card out, Child. This is about beginnings, innocence, creativity. Let's see what wants to come out with the Child. What complementing energies do we have here? All right, we have the Wolverine coming out and the Hummingbird. So these are very interesting energies coming out with the Child. So there's this energy of really coming back to our innocence, right? With the Child and the Hummingbird. Coming back to our innocence, lifting out of negativity, experiencing this lightness, this new sense of carefree, sense of lightness and sweetness. But at the same time, there's this fierceness and this assertiveness, this determined energy, right? That's the Capricorn energy. There's this very determined energy that we're also moving into. So it's like learning how to merge and meld those energies. How to stop and enjoy the sweetness of life, right? How to be present, how to be sweet and childlike and carefree and innocent. But at the same time, being assertive and powerful, right? Being determined. And this also to me, and then we have the butterfly metamorphosis, evolution of the soul, reinvention. So a lot of animal spirits coming out here, right? But this also feels very much to me, if we have those people in our lives, there's unpredictable energy. If we have these people in our lives where we are experiencing these power struggles, right? Where they are in this possessive energy, they are in this this aggressive kind of an energy towards us, right? We're learning how to soothe and soften that aspect of ourselves, and we're learning how to remove ourselves from these power struggles, from these energies. It also feels to me like an energy where during this Venus retrograde, we're learning how to give up control. We're learning how to surrender when we need to surrender and to stop. It's like we're learning what is within our control and what isn't within our control. And we're learning how to take action on the things that are within our control while relinquishing and letting go of the things that are not. That's part of this metamorphosis. That's part of this evolution of our souls. And we become more present when we stop trying to control everyone and everything around us, right? It's impossible to be present if we're trying to control and manipulate circumstances, because we have to be 10 steps ahead of everybody else, which means we always have to be in the future, right? And to try to anticipate how people are going to act and what they're going to do, we have to be in the past, right? How did this person behave in the past? How did this situation go in the past? How might this go in the future? How might I influence and change this in the future? Like, there's so many variables that we're so in our heads that we're never fully present. And so what a gift is it when we can release that need to control all of that and simply worry about ourselves and our part. All right, so this is interesting here. We have the moon, the subconscious energy, with the Summer card and the Leo card. And isn't that interesting? Because we were talking at one point about how we had that conjunction of Mars and Venus in the sign of Leo over the summer last year. So for some people, there may be this energy of tracing back to that conjunction last year, seeing what happened, what was underway then, what was shifting, what was going on for you, and seeing how that energy has evolved, or how things may be coming back around that presented themselves during that time. Yes, but the Leo card is the Strength card, and the Moon is the High Priestess. And so this is also a message during Venus retrograde. There are things that are still not going to be revealed. For the people who are wanting and expecting and needing everything to become clear, and hoping that Venus retrograde is going to make everything, that which you didn't know or understand, it's going to bring everything to light. There are still things that we aren't meant to know. There are still things that are meant to that can only unfold if we don't know all of the facts yet, if we don't know all of the details, if we don't know how everything's going to play out. And so this is where we really are learning to surrender into the unknown, to enjoy the present moment, and leave divine timing, leave things to divine timing, the things that are meant to be left to divine timing, leaving those to divine timing. Especially, this is also for some people who are, there's like a major opportunity that you're waiting for. For some of you, you may have to wait a little bit longer. And part of that is like the waiting and the patience is an initiation within itself. And you're building strength, you're building fortitude through this process of waiting, through this process of not knowing and trusting in the not knowing. Trusting that you don't know. It's like for some people, you've been given, you're going to receive the information that you need to take action around something, but you're not going to receive all the information that you want before you take the action. And you're going to have to take the action anyway, and you're going to have to trust that everything else will evolve the way that it's meant to, and that what is meant to happen will happen. You just have to trust the choice that you know you're being guided to make without having all the rest of the details yet. And this is the process that builds the faith, that builds the strength that you're meant to be building right now, if that makes any sense. And then we have the Taurus, the Queen of Earth card on the bottom of the deck. So I love that that's here. This is, of course, the Venus card, the Hierophant. And so this is, once again, a card of stability and strength, of prosperity, and higher spiritual learning, spiritual initiations, right? The Hierophant, to me, every time we pull that card in the tarot, represents an up-leveling, right? A spiritual up-leveling. And, of course, that energy of commitment coming through again. Commitments being made, commitments being tested during this Venus retrograde. All right, do we want to... Yeah, I think we're going to close this reading with a Priestess of the Light Oracle card. Let's get a final closing card. This is another new deck that I got that we haven't used yet. Clear. A final closing card for this Venus retrograde, Mars-Venus conjunction. Mars-Venus-Pluto conjunction. Okay. Oh, yeah. Setting boundaries, threshold protection, honor. And we had that Libra card, right? Talking about that codependent energy, the healing of that codependence. So this card very much plays into that. We're going to read this from the book to close here. I will hold that up again. The Priestess of the Threshold holds up her hands with palms outward, projecting a field of protective light before her. The strong and stately snow leopard, who lives a solitary life in the highest reaches of the mountains, looks over her shoulder, standing guard. This card brings you a message of both caution and encouragement. It's time to take an honest look at the boundaries you set. How do you view your importance in your own life? Are you sacrificing your priorities and self-care to prioritize the needs and wishes of others? Are you putting up with demands, dismissal, marginalization, or even disrespect from the people in your life? If so, it's time to put up your hands and say enough. You may have been allowing others to cross your personal threshold and invade your time, energy, or space, but this card is telling you that now you have the power to shift that pattern. Start to set clear limits today and make yourself a priority in your own life. Your soul deserves to be honored, and you must be the first person to make that choice. When you do, you will finally receive the respect and prioritization that you've been longing for all along. And the affirmation that goes with your card is, I choose to make myself my own priority. I have the power to set boundaries and honor myself always. So that's a really beautiful and powerful closing message for everybody, I think. This energy and the importance of the setting boundaries, making ourselves a priority in our own lives, and really seeing and understanding that until we do that, we really don't have a whole lot to share with anybody else. Right? That's how if we don't know how to make ourselves a priority, that's when we overshare. That's when we drain our cup. That's when we end up pouring from that empty cup. So Venus retrograde, I think, is going to teach a lot of people how to fill their cup and really bring to attention where it is that their cup has not been filled. And this came up the other days too. That came up in other readings. That energy as well. And then I am drawn, of course, to the bottom of the deck. We have the duality card, many meanings, misunderstandings. And we're going to read that as well. I feel like we want to read that one. And I love the energy of duality when we're working with the masculine and the feminine, right? All right. Your life is also, let's see. So it talks about how the disciple priestess Magdalena sits at the entrance to a cave, a place of retreat. The skull on her lap indicates her spiritual side, whereas the open book represents her scholarly and educated side. Her red dress and white sash beneath her are symbols of the divine feminine and divine masculine combined, right? The merging of those energies, perfect. Your life is also full of dualities. You are at the same time masculine and feminine, physical and ethereal, fully human and fully divine. This card encourages you to explore all these true yet diverse aspects of yourself. It may feel strange to dive into your new spiritual practices if you've always been physically oriented. An active masculine approach to life may feel unnatural if you've traditionally been in a more reflective and feminine mode. But these deeper layers of yourself now long to be expressed. In opening up to these experiences, you will tap important previously unknown strengths and talents and widen the scope of your spiritual, your personal, and even your professional life. Finally, there is a message of warning in this card regarding distorted perceptions. Magdalena, or Mary Magdalene, has been historically misunderstood, called a prostitute when she was actually an educated landowner. Be conscious of the ways you may be misunderstood, and be courageous in your intention to live your own life and stand in your truth. Also be aware of any misunderstandings you carry about yourself. Any limiting or judgmental notions must be set aside. A clear understanding of your truth requires you to embrace your divine nature, the most gracious and powerful part of your many-faceted, sparkling identity. And the affirmation here says, I am willing to explore the many wonderful sides of my nature. I am open to understanding the depth of my truth and expressing that to others. So these are both really perfect cards to end this reading. That energy, as we are merging our masculine and feminine, of exploring these different energies within ourselves. Which energy are you most comfortable with? Explore the opposite. Right? Are you generally somebody who likes to do, who works with the logic? Can you take some time out then? Take some time to be receptive, work with that intuitive side, or vice versa, right? Where is it that you can bring more of that other energy into play? And what secrets are there for you to discover? What aspects of yourself can you discover when you tap into that other side of yourself, tapping into all of these different facets of who we are during this Venus retrograde, to find what is hidden there for us, what gems, what secrets are hidden there. And of course, this understanding of the importance of embracing our light, stepping into our power, speaking and living our truth, right? And understanding where it is that we may be misperceiving or misinterpreting situations or people, including, I love how it includes the self in this, right? Because there are so many misunderstandings that we carry about ourselves, and these would be those limiting belief systems that we talk about all the time, right? Set aside that self-judgment. Set aside those limiting beliefs about you, about your capabilities, about who you are, and about life in general, right? But also be courageous enough to not worry about being misunderstood, right? Speak your truth, live your truth anyway. There are always going to be people who judge us. There are always going to be people who misunderstand us, right? So if you're going to be judged whether or not you're living your truth, why not live your truth? If it can't be avoided anyway. What good does it do to hide yourself? What good does it do to shrink away? All right. I love you guys. I appreciate you so much. I hope that you enjoyed this reading. We'll, of course, be continuing to talk about these energies as we move through the rest of January, February, and March, because they're going to keep coming up. But I wanted to give you guys an overview of what we have going on here, and just this powerful interplay of planets throughout these first few months of 2022. Wow. I almost said 2020. So then I changed it to 2021 before it came out of my mouth, and I realized I'm still behind. It's actually 2022. So whatever year it is, these are some powerful energies that we have opening up this year for us. So we're really starting this year off with some with a bang, I guess you could say. I was trying to find something else to say, but I think that pretty much sums it up. So stay tuned. We'll continue to explore these energies and the ways that these are shifting us and changing us and transforming us. Yeah. That's it. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button, drop a comment down below. My email is down below if you want to reach out to me to set up a personal reading, to set up a healing, any of the different things that I do. All of that information is in the description box, along with links if you would like to donate and support the channel. You are all amazing. You are incredible. You are so worthy. You are so beautiful. And return some of that love to yourself as we move through this Venus retrograde. Fill that cup up, you guys. You deserve it, and you're worth it.